What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the latest episode of The Layup Line. The NBA season is almost back, and I wanted to start by reminding you to like and subscribe. Videos will be getting a lot more consistent as I look to cover this 2021 season, and soon we'll have preseason games to talk about on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed for that. But with all that out the way, let's talk about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie is a controversial player, so you probably already have some opinion or take on who you think Kyrie is. Irving is a divisive figure. He's a clutch shooter that knocked down an iconic game winner in a Game 7 of the NBA Finals to cap off a 3-1 comeback. But Kyrie is also the guy that went consecutive days without speaking to teammates during the Cavs' 2016 playoff run. Kyrie is the human highlight reel with Allen Iverson level ball handling and one of the most popular shoes in the league. He's a humanitarian who spends his money and time giving back to good causes, but according to ESPN's Jackie McMullen, Kyrie has mood swings and can be a concern in the locker room as well. I want to be very specific about showing you quotes in this video because at the end of the day, your take on Kyrie will come down to interpretation. This season, Kyrie released a statement on Media Day that he would not be available for interviews because he wanted to ensure that his message was conveyed properly. And ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported that Kyrie would be conducting a media blackout for the season. And Newsday's Greg Logan, however, reached out to a Nets spokesperson who said, and I quote, "Irving's decision to issue a statement rather than take questions this week was not some blanket media boycott." Kyrie's point is that he believes there's a history of his quotes being taken out of context and misapplied to paint him in a certain light. You can argue that Kyrie is right in this situation as well. We see this a lot in sports media, and there's no denying that the hot take, clickbait quotes get views, and therefore they're profitable. So that's why I'm also showing you who these reports are coming from so you can decide who to trust as credible reporting. I also wanted to shout out B-Souls on YouTube. He's got some videos on Kyrie out there already that you might or might not have seen. I think there's some fair critiques and takes on Kyrie, and I recommend those videos if you haven't seen them already. I also wanted to shout out Jackson Frank of Dime Mag for an article that he put out recently. It came out just as I was deciding on doing this video, so I wanted to recommend that as well. It was real useful in putting this video together. So to start, real quick, I just want to touch on the first real controversy with Kyrie, and that's what really kicked off this strange media feud. I'm going to play a part of a conversation from the Road Trippin' podcast hosted by Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, and Ali LaForce, where Kyrie made his initial comments about the flat earth theory. This sparked an entire controversy. Now, I want to be clear that this is only a short excerpt from a broader conversation, but I wanted to pick out a part of it that really contextualizes what got people so upset at Kyrie. But to be clear, the conversation went on for a few minutes. I just couldn't fit all of that in here, but I will link the full podcast below.
Do you believe the earth is round or flat?
Look, for what I've known for as many years, and what I've come to believe, what I've been taught, is that the earth is round.
Yes.
But I mean, if you really think about it from a landscape of the way we travel, the way we move, and the fact that can you really think of us rotating around the sun and all planets aligned, rotating in specific dates, being perpendicular with what's going on with these planets and stuff like this.
How are you going to put planets in quotations?
I'm going to put planets because everything that they send, or they want to say that they're sending,
they thought Pluto was a planet until like 4 years ago.
It doesn't come back.
Kyrie would spend the next year walking these comments back, apologizing for the distraction and confusion, emphasizing that he does indeed understand that the earth is round, and becoming a meme in the process, all following what was the height of his career to this point when the Cavaliers won the 2016 title. Kyrie subsequently requested a trade after the Cavaliers lost in the 2017 finals to the Golden State Warriors, and like everything in Irving's career, his trade request was controversial too. After Kyrie was moved to Boston, a report by Joe Vardon of Cleveland.com released stating that after already threatening to not report to training camp, Kyrie also spoke with Cleveland Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert and threatened to have an off-season surgery to clean up damage on an injury Kyrie sustained in the 2015 finals. When asked about those reports, Kyrie stated that they were not true and that it sounded like a HIPAA violation to imply that he needed surgery. Kyrie's time in Boston was full of ups and downs when on opening night, newly acquired All-Star Gordon Hayward had a devastating injury for the Celtics that would shift the dynamics of the team in the coming season when Hayward would make his return. But Kyrie would also end up needing knee surgery in March of the 2018 season, which would put him out for the playoffs. The Celtics' young team of Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and veteran Al Horford would make it all the way to the conference finals in a Game 7 with the Cavs that built up excitement for how the team would return in the 2019 season. In fact, Irving was so excited about the upcoming Celtics season that during a fan event, Kyrie expressed that he wanted to re-sign with the Celtics and that he'd like to see his jersey retired for the team someday. That excitement would not last, and I could do an entire video on the 2019 Celtics season alone because there were so many storylines for why I was unable to work. Gordon Hayward struggled to return to form, and everyone in that locker room has admitted that they struggled accepting different offensive roles with Hayward and Kyrie now in the rotation. We would later learn that Kyrie was also struggling with the death of his grandfather, which by his own words put him in a dark place and took the joy out of playing basketball. The Celtics would end the season in a 5-game series loss in the Eastern Conference semifinals, in a series where Kyrie did not play well and gave us a handful of post-game quotes that I'm sure he'd like to forget. The writing was on the wall, and it was clear that Kyrie was not in fact re-signing with the Celtics, and that's how we find him on the Nets today. Kyrie opened up the 2020 media day with the Nets, owning up to his failures in Boston, but that has not stopped many Celtics fans who still view him as the guy with most of the blame for that team underachieving. And the disdain for Kyrie peaked when Kyrie missed his first game back in Boston's TD Garden due to another injury that would end his season early. The next chapter of the story would come as the NBA was preparing to restart their halted season in a bubble environment in Disneyland. Kyrie was among players like Avery Bradley and Dwight Howard who were concerned that a return to play would distract from the ongoing protest against police brutality and racial injustice in the United States. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski described Irving as a disruptor, as many other star players on playoff teams were in favor of resuming play. Many on social media and in sports media echoed Wojnarowski's sentiment and questioned Kyrie's motives and intelligence. Some people were fine with the message as long as it was not coming from Kyrie, who over the past 3-4 years has gained a reputation as a moody guy and hard to work with. Critiques of Irving got even harsher when a report by Stephen Bondy of the New York Daily News came out with a report that Kyrie had proposed players should start their own league. Bleacher Report's Taylor Rook came out with a similar report, adding that Kyrie apparently left the Nets group chat after this news came out. Brooklyn Nets teammates Chris Chios and Theo Pinson responded on Twitter, saying that these reports were false while voicing their support for Kyrie. Now this is what it means to be polarizing. For every Kyrie quote or report, there's a quote or report denying it or explaining it or attempting to contextualize it differently. Now I'm a strong believer that fans and even media members can never really know these players because they're more than whatever their career represents. Players are people with lives outside of their jobs who have ups and downs, and none of us are close enough to Kyrie or any player for that matter to give an accurate assessment of their entire character. So I hope Kyrie does speak to the media this season and that we continue to hear from him directly on how the season is going from an individual and team standpoint. But whether or not he's giving us traditional interviews, I'm going to be focused on Kyrie Irving, the basketball player, the guy that was an important part of a title team, and trying to see if he can do that again. But comment down below and let me know what you think about Kyrie Irving. Let's talk about some preseason expectations for the Brooklyn Nets, and let me know where you think they rank in the Eastern Conference. If you learned something new, or if you like what I do, leave a like and subscribe. I really want to grow this channel out with the season about to begin, so I hope you stick with me on that journey. Enjoy the rest of your day.